Polkadot is probably the most undervalued large cap project out there right now, and it's one that I see doing extremely well in 2025. So guys, if you want to stay tuned for my price prediction, wait to the very end of the video. But in between now and then, I want to explain to you what Polkadot is and why I'm so bullish, okay? So for those who don't know what the hell Polkadot is, well, it's a project currently at 12th in terms of the market cap size, all right? So Polkadot is an infrastructure layer, okay? It's an infrastructure network. It's actually a layer 0 that allows things called Parachains to be built and connected to it and almost act like the interoperability facilitator between all these different networks, right? So these Parachains, as they're called, are pretty much just like shards, right? They're their own blockchain networks that can run dApps or other sort of smaller protocols on them. They're, creating token economies themselves, right? So they're fully customizable and self-sustainable, but they rely on Polkadot itself as the foundation to communicate with each other. A similar sort of protocol, you could say, is going to be Ethereum, when Ethereum merges completely over to shards, and then you can have the different shards on the network, and then they obviously have different protocols built on them. Also, sort of like Cosmos as well, okay? So right now, Polkadot really hasn't had its day in the sun, right? Polkadot kind of started way back in 2017, and as it's moved through the years, I believe mid to late 2020 was when it kind of came to fruition on the open market, had a huge ICO rounds totaling almost $300 million all up, and it's backed by some of the best in cryptocurrency. And guys, guess who founded it? Gavin Wood. Now, Gavin was one of the original founders of Ethereum before moving out, alongside obviously Vitalik and also Charles. And, obviously, here's Polkadot, right? So they didn't really agree with each other either. The Ethereum founders didn't really agree eye to eye with how Ethereum should move forward. So Gavin stepped away and created what he wanted Ethereum to become, right? This Web3 interoperability powerhouse. And that's what Polkadot essentially is. All it pretty much is just pretty much like the center hub for interoperability, right? These parachains themselves leveraged Polkadot's technology called XCM and XCMP, which is cross-chain messaging and cross-chain message passing, which is it's not a protocol, it's a message standard created by Gavin that allows people to sort of communicate in this same message format, and the passing side of it, the XCMP, facilitates those transfers, okay? So it's novel to Polkadot as far as I'm aware, but it was kind of created, and now other protocols are out there, like we see with, Nomad, I think, has now closed down. But XLR is one that facilitates transfers between Polkadot using the XCM and XCMP protocol, message passing system, between Ethereum and other, EVM blockchains, okay? So essentially, you can kind of see the parachains currently on Polkadot, and that's huge names in the space, right? Respectively, they are big names themselves, Akala, Moonbeam, you've got Aster, so on and so forth, that are actually great networks in their own right, interoperating with more and more networks. So you can kind of see Polkadot as like these parachains that are, bringing all the network utility and use cases in, and then Polkadot's at the center of it, facilitating it all, okay? So there's lots of demand for a protocol that is at the center of demand, okay? And that's what Polkadot really is. Now, if we have a look at why I'm so bullish on Polkadot, is it hasn't really so-called had its day in the sun yet, right? Because these parachains, which are pretty much the main sort of solution to Polkadot and interoperability, they only came about towards the end of the last bull market, being the end of 2021, start of 2022, which was more or less about 12 or so months ago, right? So there's about 40 of them now, 42 I think actually, and as the markets have slowly started to fade away into this sort of bear market situation, these protocols, these networks have begun attaching themselves, and through these things called slot auctions, have begun developing and building and interoperating on Polkadot, right? So it's really, really building up, and that goes to show with the current amount of active developers on Polkadot. I believe from what I've found, it is second only to Ethereum. It beats every other network out there. It beats BNB, it beats Polygon, it beats Phantom, it beats Near Protocol, it beats every other network, right? The only thing is, from what you'll find in my deep dive video coming out in a few weeks, is that Polkadot's transactions, not the TPS, the transactions themselves, and how much money is flowing around the network, as well as how many new accounts are being created on the daily, it's quite lacking, right? But I believe that's for a fair reason, and I'm not going to touch on that in this video. That's for that video. I guess you guys should stay tuned for that. So I do think there's a lot going on, but possibly one of the most bullish features of Polkadot that not many people talk about is an upcoming sort of upgrade to the protocol itself called asynchronous backing that's going to boost the TPS per parachain. So right now, each parachain can process more or less about 1,000 transactions a second, and the finality is anywhere between 12 to 60 seconds. This asynchronous backing technique is going to speed the hell up out of all this sort of stuff and drop the finality down to about 6 seconds, so half of what the lowest it used to be or is right now, and boost TPS, get this, by up to 100 to 1,000 times TPS. So that's anywhere between 100,000 TPS a second to 1 million TPS a second per parachain, right? So you kind of like, you hear about this stuff, and right now it's being sort of developed and tested and audited on Polkadot's Canary network, Kusama, which is where all the testing happens first before they move it over to Polkadot, which is a fantastic idea, by the way. Gavin, you're a genius. Guys, it's going to blow the top off. I mean, look at Cadena. Cadena was 480,000 TPS, and everyone was freaking the hell out, right? And look how far that blew up, like 30x in a matter of weeks. So you imagine Polkadot now, not just allowing one or a global TPS of 1 million per parachain, guys. And remember, you have all these insane protocols themselves, these networks, these layer 1.5 parachains connecting to Polkadot as well, bringing in more and more demand, connecting to more networks, having their own ecosystems themselves. It's just unbelievable, guys. Not to mention, we also have parathreads as well. So parachains themselves go through these auction phases where you've got to submit and kind of like, it's an auction process, right? To have a slot on Polkadot. There's only 100 of them, so it's quite fierce, right? Now, parathreads are more so for the smaller protocols or networks that are testing a few things and want to trial being on the relay chain. They pay as they go through parathreads, right? So they pay as they go, use the service, and kind of can test the waters. Okay, so with that all being said, guys, there is a lot to still happen with Polkadot. And as I said, 2025, there's going to be some insane price demand, right? Token demand is what I'm trying to say, sorry. So just stay tuned for that, guys. Don't sleep on Polkadot, because these other protocols went up 10, 20, 30x. Polkadot was just kind of sitting there, and it's just like, hey, well, we've got our parachains now, and everyone like freaked out about the parachains. And then it's like, boom, see you later. Crypto's, going down to the crypto, cold winter bear market. So keep it in mind, guys. It's one to look out for. Now, my price prediction for 2025, I'm going to go out on a whim here and say I'm expecting around $200 Polkadot, right? Because for those who don't know, the supply of Polkadot is unlimited. The max supply is infinite. There were only a select amount of tokens initially minted at launch, and ever since then, we're pretty much going to see a steady inflation rate of more or less about 10%, okay? So all the tokens are vested, right? We're just pretty much going to see a steady increase. So it's pretty easy to predict how many tokens are going to be in circulation in 2025, which will probably be about 1.5 billion from memory. Okay, so it's not too much dilution from here. And again, everyone's going to go crazy when they see these huge TPS numbers and the fact that these parachains are actually bringing in a hell of a lot of demand that wasn't there before. With that being said, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. Again, stay tuned for the video coming out in a couple of weeks where I dive into this in so much more detail. And with that said, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and leave a comment below. Tell me what you think about Polkadot and other networks like Polkadot, such as Cosmos. Thanks, guys. Take care.